Hello and welcome to Goddess Resurrection. My name is Britta and I am your host. And today's episode is on surrender is power in your feminine energy. In this video, I want to talk about the two aspects to surrender, surrendering in life, and then also surrendering in relationship. And before we dive in, let's say hello. Hello, my sweet sister. How are you? I hope you are breathing and feeling. It's been a very magical time. I don't know how you are feeling where you are at, but I've been integrating tremendous amounts of light and I've been stabilizing in these much higher frequencies. And so I've been making sure that I am at peace, that I am getting good sleep, that I am just being, and I have been flowing through the days and just feeling such joy and such ease in this new frequency of this new earth. And surrender is the new earth. Surrender is Goddess work, and surrender is layered. Let's go ahead and let's meet in the breath. Nice, deep, slow, conscious in and exhales. Keep your eyes open. Remember, we always want to build the breath into the doing. It is always about you staying in that connection to you being the one in and exhaling, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. You adjust the breath. Sometimes it's deeper and faster, and other times it's slower. It depends, but you're always the one in the breath. You're the one in and exhaling, which means you are in charge of yourself. You are in your feminine energy connection. Good. Now let's dive in. Why is surrender power? Well, let's start by saying when and if you are surrendering in your masculine energy, that's giving up. When you're in your masculine energy and you are surrendering, you are throwing in the towel. You are waving the white flag in the masculine energy. That's surrender in the masculine energy, because remember, the masculine is attaching and referring to the external. The masculine is everything external, all that we see and need and want and work for. That's all masculine energy. So surrender in the masculine energy is always giving up. Now, feminine energy is you on the inside. Feminine energy is you connecting into your divine light, into your divine alignment. Surrender is alignment in the feminine energy. And therefore, it is the ultimate form of power. The ultimate form of power, because when you are in your feminine energy and surrendered into your light, into your flow, into your wisdom, into your guidance, into your communication with your higher self or your higher power or your guides or your family members. This is when you are finger on the pulse, right? This is you finger on the pulse. When you are in deep surrender and deep alignment, when you are in your feminine energy, you are finger on the pulse of the frequencies, the pulse of the shifts, the pulse of the communication, the pulse of the earth frequency that's been up-leveling, the pulse of the divine timing, the pulse of your divine timing. Every single one of us has a different timing. Every single one of us has a different mission. Every single one of us is unique as a snowflake. And so therefore, the deeper you are in that surrender of you being, remember, it's a state of being. It's you being in the flow. It's you being the river of light. You feel, you know, the timing, the peace, when to take an action, when not to take an action, because it's coming from your guidance, from your soul. So you see, for you to be in your surrender within your feminine energy is the ultimate power. And most importantly, it is, of course, connecting you into the new earth, you being in surrender to your divine, staying in the breath, out of the head, in your feeling, in your knowing. This is not only when you are in alignment and in that connectivity to the new earth, but you are also raising your vibration. This is when you are activating your blueprint to deeper levels. You are building light body to higher frequencies. You are up leveling your light. And so as you are up leveling your light, you go through phases where you have to integrate. You go through phases where you have to be in that place of surrender just to embody more of your light so your body can do the work and build your light body and hold the frequency, right? Because it takes adjustment for you, for the physical body and the outer bodies to be able to hold the higher frequency. It has to settle in, right? It has to become the new layer, the new level, the new comfort zone where mentally, emotionally, energetically, and physically you are adjusting to feeling good, adjusting to feeling so much ease and peace, adjusting to the higher levels of guidance, adjusting to the deeper level of wisdom and intuition, adjusting to this state, this new state within your nervous system. So you see, you surrendering and you focusing on this surrender is the ultimate power. But well, let's dive deeper. And this was kind of like the overview of what that is, of what it looks like, of the goal that this is, right? Because surrender, again, the masculine energy, of course, thinks surrender is giving up. How many times have I had a post on surrender and it's always the masculine energies that say, I'm not giving up. Hell no, I'm not surrendering. Oh no, you will never get me to surrender. And I'm like, okay, okay. Right? No, it's in the feminine energy. The deeper you can surrender, it's layer after layer after layer after layer. You become more and more and more of your powers, of your wisdom, of your connectivity. Quick guidance that they were just telling me to share. I come from the Viking lineage. I'm a Viking shaman by lineage and training. And the Vikings were the first civilization where man and woman were equals by law and through the eyes of the family. Viking women were free to do whatever they felt called to do. Viking women were the shamanesses of the clan. Viking women spoke to spirit to see about the timing of a war, right? Because it was all about land. But most importantly, Vikings lived by the honor code, and Vikings knew that they could reach godly acclaim. Vikings lived by the honor code so they could reach godly acclaim. Yes, yes. Vikings were very, very, very in tune with the divine, with the gods, with the light. And godly acclaim really meant surrender, right? Surrender of the ego, of the attachments, and becoming so light that one is in their lightest state, in their divine state. And this is very much what the new earth is about. This is very much what we are moving back into. We're moving back into the divine feminine. We're moving really very much back into this awareness of self, and it's free from the ego. Godly acclaim, goddess work has nothing to do with the ego. As a matter of fact, it requires deep, deep, deep work, deep healing work to reach your light and goddess embodiment. And it all has to do with surrender. It's all about surrender. Surrender is goddess work. Surrender is the new earth paradigm, because it's a soul-guided, soul manifestation. It is you being so in surrender to your soul, to your guidance, to your intuition, that you trust your soul, your path, your journey, because no other soul has the same path, right? And this is the first part to the surrender, is to learn to surrender to yourself, to your light, to your soul in life, which means you have to let go of the attachments, right? Attachment to the external is the masculine energy. Attachment, wanting, needing, trying to make it work, forcing it, pushing it, is very much old paradigm. And so to learn to detach, to learn to let go and surrender again, and then your ego is going to want to force or push or rush or attach. Oh, I need it this way. I need it this way, this way. I thought it would go this way. I want it this way. You notice it and you let it go again. It's detach to surrender. Let go, surrender more. Detach again, surrender more deeply. It is that back and forth, because there are so many layers to you and your ego and the old way of the patriarchy working through you that still tell you you have to prove yourself, or you have to show up in a certain way to find attention, or you have to be a certain way in order to be deserving, right? All old paradigm, all patriarchy. We're moving away from that entirely. We're back into the Viking days, yes, except for no more dark ages. Right? Because they lived in the dark ages. So it was brutal, but it was raw and it was honest. And it was Christianity that disconnected the Vikings from their connection, from their communication, because, you know, Christians came in and they converted them to not listening to themselves anymore, because that was considered evil, right? So we're coming back. It's full circle. We are full circle. And so for you in your life to learn to surrender, you must, sweet sister, learn to surrender more and more deeply. Because if you don't surrender, you will not be able to surrender with your masculine, with your divine masculine. If you cannot surrender by yourself, believe me, it's going to be very difficult to surrender to your masculine. And surrender is the antidote to the ego, the negative ego, to the ego attachments, because surrender, again, is that softening, that releasing, that letting go. And of course, you'll find yourself, you'll catch yourself when you're unhappy with something in your life, or you're impatient with something in your life because it hasn't shown up, or because it's not working out the way you thought it would. And so oftentimes these are the ways in which your higher self is working with you and for you to get you to surrender more. Things aren't working the way you want them to, surrender. You're not getting what you thought you would get in your perceived timing, let it go, surrender. Whenever you're feeling agitated, whenever you're feeling frustrated, whenever you're feeling annoyed, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, surrender. Surrender. Do yourself the favor and learn that practice to just let go. Stepping back into your alignment, back into your breath, back into your feminine energy. Surrender, let go. And that is you being in trust, right? You trusting yourself, your light, your soul, your higher self, your crew, your spirit crew, right? And it's a practice, and it's the most important practice as we are embodying higher frequencies, as we are living in the new earth, as we are adjusting down to the nervous system, to our blueprint, to our much higher frequencies, learning to walk as the light, learning to talk as the light, learning to see as the light, learning to speak as the light. It takes deep adjustment through the layers of the ego, and then from here into the embodiment of your true self. Yes. So practice surrender. Whenever you're feeling a little edgy, whenever you're unhappy with what's happening, remember, surrender. Write it down for yourself. Write it down on your bathroom mirror. Write it on your hand if you have to. Back into the breath. Okay, let me just surrender. I trust. Remind yourself, I trust. Because you reminding yourself of this trust, you reminding yourself of who you really are and that you're choosing to surrender is not only going to open up your sensory and your gifts, it's also going to help your nervous system to adjust to the higher frequencies. You reminding yourself to surrender and coming into your feminine energy and going deeper and deeper and deeper inside of yourself, you being in this peaceful flow, you being in this peaceful state of being, you allowing yourself this level of trust is going to ease the embodiment, bring peace, open your heart, and truly fill in with the highest frequency of your soul light. And it will catapult you, maybe not in the timing that you thought or anticipated or planned, right? It's all masculine energy, and it's okay. It's part of life, but it's the time for the divine feminines to surrender. Surrender, 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 surrender. And you'll see it's the way to come back into your peace. It's the way to come back into your ease. It's the way to come back into your joy. It's the way to come back into your flow, right? And just to be that joy and that soft, divine light and love. And then, of course, when your timing is right, everything that's next for you will come. But you have to surrender through the times that feel like nothing is happening, right? Have you heard the saying, when you feel like nothing is happening, that's when everything is happening? Yes. You have to learn to surrender and not overdo and overgive and overforce and overpush because you're uncomfortable with nothing showing up. It's these moments that feel like plateaus. It's these times that feel like nothing is happening that require you to surrender even more. This is the time to rest. This is the time to self-love. This is the time to self-care. This is the time to stay in your feminine energy flow and practice being. And watch, listen, feel, notice how you are just beginning to feel at ease, peaceful with yourself, knowing that everything will manifest. Now let's get to the masculine, right? You surrendering to a masculine. And again, it's not gender specific. If you're the feminine, the divine feminine, your partner is divine masculine. Doesn't matter the gender. Now, you, of course, have to remember that trust is earned, and so is surrender. You're not gonna surrender to any Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes along and proclaims themselves as the masculine. You have to stay and watch and see what he does, what the masculine does. You have to watch. You can stay in your feminine energy. You can stay in the surrender to yourself always. You're always in your surrender within yourself, always in your intuition, always in your guidance. That's your safety. That's your sweet spot. That's your knowing. And then when it comes to that relationship, as we are now joining in these elevated relationships of, right, really high level soul connections, twin flame connections, it'll take a little getting used to. It'll take a little learning each other, right? And it's also communication. It's about expression and communication and allowing the two of you to figure it out together. None of us have been in the new earth while here on earth. Newsflash. It's a brand new thing for all of us. It's a brand new experience for every single one of us. Nobody has done this before. Nobody has ascended while in human form before now. So it's all about waiting and learning and communicating and waiting to see, right? You don't surrender to somebody who doesn't know or hasn't shown themselves to be vulnerable enough to want to talk about it, to want to ask questions, to want to connect in that way, to discover together, right? You cannot surrender to somebody who thinks he has all the answers and just forges ahead. That's ego right there. So make sure you stay graceful about it, but also very honest and very real with it, right? So that you can really remember that, okay, yeah, trust is earned, surrender is earned. For you to surrender into such softness within yourself, into such flow with yourself, your masculine has to provide that safe space. And that can only happen by him also allowing himself to be vulnerable, by him also allowing himself to not know, by him also now learning to refer back to you. You're the divine feminine. You hold the answers. You are the channel. You bring forth the guidance. And of course, it's a back and forth and it's an exchange, yes. But the feminine energy, the light leads. The light always leads. And so it's just as much getting used to for him or her in the masculine energy as it is for you. So patience, learning to work with it, right? Lots of communication and exchange. Everybody is learning it. Everybody is getting used to it now. Everybody has to adjust. Everybody has to, oh, okay. And also, don't look to others. You, the two of you, you and your divine counterpart, you have your own roadmap. You have your own blueprint that gets activated as the two of you come together. You have a mission that the two of you are here together, right? So you have to remember, no other couple is going to be able to give you advice. I mean, sure, it's great to get advice, but you are just as unique by yourself as you are in your partnership. And so therefore, this is the key, right? To be so open and vulnerable and okay with not knowing, and let's bring forth the guidance and let's learn together, right? It is a dance that the two are here to do together, and that is the strengthening, that is the deeply bonding, that is the opening into the soul, connecting more and more and more deeply with one another. It's a very magical process, and it does require a lot of vulnerability on both parts. Right? It's a deep surrender in this way on both parts. The masculine has to surrender his ego, the need to know, the need to be in charge. The masculine has to surrender that too, right? Just as much as you need to always continue to surrender more and more and more and more deeply into yourself. Very exciting times. If there is one practice that is the ultimate, most important practice, is to surrender over and over and over and over again. Write it down for yourself. Remind yourself of it. One more little thing. When the nervous system is stressed, right? When we are in fight, flight, we cannot access our intuition. We cannot access our light. We cannot access our goddess. And when the nervous system is in fight flight, we also cannot rejuvenate. We also cannot reproduce cells. The body is only focused on survival. So surrender is also the way to get out of the fight-flight mode that is still so deeply conditioned into so many, right? It's those raised cortisol levels that are just the opposite of the new earth. So for you to surrender more and more and more, right? Just let go. Stop trying to control. Do everything you feel called to do, yes. But then you let it go. Give it to the light. Let go and let light. You've got to lower your cortisol levels. You've got to regulate your nervous system. And it all happens through the surrender into your feminine energy to deeper and deeper and deeper levels still. Good. Okay, my gorgeous. I thank you for your time and your energy and your presence on this channel. And I am sending love and light blessings to you and yours. And next episode is going to be after Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. I am grateful for you. And I can't wait to see you next Friday. Ciao. For now, keep surviving.